Okay, in this video, we're going to talk about using a Photoshop mockup. And I'm going to tie this to the assignment that we just did in creating the Husky House logo badge. So after you create the Husky House logo badge, what you're going to do is you're going to use that logo to design a barbecue sauce label. And the barbecue sauce label is going to be on a bottle that's part of a mock-up, a Photoshop mock-up. So the first thing I want to show you is where to get mock-ups, a good site to get free mock-ups, and then also as we get into it, we'll learn what a mock-up is and how to insert graphics into a mock-up to make it look like a real product. Back in the old days, whenever we did bottle labels or labels of any kind, package labels or things that would go on a t-shirt or apparel, we always had to do that flat. And, you know, if it was a t-shirt graphic, we would do an outline in Illustrator of a t-shirt. It was real cheesy. And now we can download a photographic mock-up and actually insert our graphic on that, and it looks real. It looks like it was actually printed on a shirt or on a bottle label, wrapped around a bottle. It's got the shadows and all that. And mock-ups are designed by Photoshop artists, and many of which are sold on internet sites, mock-up sites. But there's a lot of freebies out there, and I've collected a number of free mock-ups that I'll share with you. Anyway, let me share my screen and let's get started in this. All right. Okay, so this is what we're going to end up doing. Let me pull up the actual version here. Okay, so this is a photograph of a mock-up. Actually, it's probably an illustration, and it was done with shadows and highlights and really looks kind of like an actual bottle. And this was a mock-up that I downloaded off of, I believe it was graphicpair.com, which I'll show you in a sec. But the idea is we've designed this logo, and now we're going to place this logo on a label, a line of barbecue sauces. We're going to do 3 barbecue sauces, and we're going to create the flavors and the graphics. And actually, you did this graphics in the previous assignment in InDesign, where you created the Husky House logo. So let's imagine that this restaurant, the Husky House local bar and grill, has a line of barbecue sauces that they're selling. Kind of like Lucille's. If you've ever been to Lucille's, they have their own line of barbecue sauce. Okay, so this is the final result of what we're going to do, and let's first look at where to get a mock-up. Okay, so I'm going to go over to Google, and nope, that's not Google. Sorry. Let me get into, okay, here we go. And I'm going to go to this site called graphicpair.com. And graphicpair.com is a site for all kind of things, you know, templates for resumes, mock-ups, vector graphics, icons, all kind of things. In fact, you should really explore this site because it really has a lot to offer. One of the things that you have to do, though, first is you're going to have to create an account. And so since I've already created an account, you can see my account name right here, but it'll say something like sign up or create account. Click on that, go through the motions, create an account. It'll send you an email and you'll confirm that email. And then you'll log in with a username and password and you'll get to this screen here. Once you get here, you can now download what mockups are available. Now, not all of these mockups are available. In fact, some of the real good ones, in fact, the ones on this first page are all premium mockups, which means that you have to actually pay for a subscription to Graphic Pair. So if I clicked on, let's say, one of these here, let me just click on this bottle graphic here. I'll just click on that. Oh, that actually is a free download. Okay, so if you see this and it says free download, then you're welcome to download that. I think I didn't go to the home page. Okay, this is the home page here. Yeah. And on the home page, they always show you the latest and greatest mockups that are available. But when you click on these, for instance, if I click here, you'll see that it says upgrade to download. So you need the premium account, and that costs, a fee per month and all of that. So I don't do that. I always just look for the free mockups. Go to mockups here and click on mockups. And you'll probably won't find any free ones on the first page, but as you keep clicking next, you can see the ones that are offered, and you just have to kind of click on them to see which ones are free. If you have an account, if you have a subscription, then all of them are. You can download anything that you see. But you just keep going here. A lot of them are like cosmetics and bottles and, but you will see some pamphlets and graphics and, invitations, business cards. Here's one that's a classic, kind of a business card. If you were doing a design for a business card, that's a free download. You would do your graphics in Photoshop or InDesign, but ultimately you're going to bring them into Photoshop because these are all Photoshop mockups. Okay. And so let me just show you how easy it is to download a mockup. You would just click free download, and once you again have a account, that's all you need is an account. You click here, you'll see that this come up right here, and you'll just simply click on the zip file. And it will download here to your computer. And, some of these are pretty hefty downloads. This one is 268 megabytes, which, I don't know, it's not that big, but, and then that's downloaded. And then I'll bring this over to the desktop here as a zip file. You'll see that zip file here. I'll double click on the zip file. It'll open that up into a folder. I'll double click the folder, and you can see here is the Photoshop mockup right here. You're going to look for .psd in your, because what it's going to give you is a JPEG of the finished, or of what it looks like. It's going to give you a help PDF, and then it's going to give you the actual Photoshop mockup. Okay, so very simple, easy to do, easy to download, and we're not using the business card, so I'm going to get rid of that. And let's move on to the one we are going to use, and that is the bottle mockup. Okay, so let me go in and launch that mockup, and this is the mockup that I'm going to give you. I will put it up on Canvas. It'll be the original barbecue bottle mockup right here, and it'll be the PSD file. You won't have to download anything. So when you double click on this, you will see the original mockup. Now this is the mockup. This is the temporary graphics that it's filling it with, and we're going to put our own label design here. And this is the, I'm going to pull this up here. These are all the layers that are part of this mockup, and you can see that there are lots of things that are part of this mockup, and you can go in and kind of experiment and see what all of these things do, but I'll tell you the basic things. This is the label design right here, the actual label design. And what you're going to look for is the thumbnail that has this little smart object icon here, this little gray thing right here. And that is going to be indicate that that is the the layer that you can, or the file that you can change the graphics in. So if I double click on this little icon right here and click that, you can see that this is the file, and you notice it came out as a separate tab. Here's the original mockup, and here is that smart object. And the smart object contains all of these layers, and all of these layers are all of the graphics here. The way this thing works is that you put your own graphics here, and once you're done, you save it, Command S, and it applies it to this mockup right here. So let's just kind of turn off these layers, and so you can see what all these layers are. Okay, if I start turning off these layers, see, that's that bar right there. Okay, and that's the other one, and that's text and text and text and so forth. Okay, we're going to keep that BBQ script text right there because we're going to use that, but it's going to say something else. And then I'll just kind of methodically just start closing the visibility of all of these other layers here. Okay, and then the salt lick. We're going to keep the background color, and we're going to keep the bars up here, but that's what these two layers are down here. This is the actual background color. This is the top rectangle and the bottom rectangle. Okay, so all we're doing is showing what we want to show in this. Now you can delete these layers if you know you're not going to use them. You can just, click them and click the trash and delete them. But I'm just going to turn the layers off for now, so because we don't need them, and we'll just keep them here, because when we output this and save it to the actual bottom mockup, it's not going to show anyway. Okay, so we have our canvas ready for us to build our design, and what I'm going to do is open up the InDesign file that you just created of the Husky House logo. So let's go do that. I'm going to go into the Husky House logo folder, and that would be this folder here. Now this is the actual logo that you created from the first assignment. I asked you to create, okay, it'll just be this page right here. Okay, I asked you to create this logo, and I have a couple of videos showing you the demonstration on how that was done. And so when you're all finished, you're going to have a file that looks like this, and your layers are going to be these layers here, and each layer you can see the word established. Okay, that's this area right there. You're going to have the outer circle, the inner circle, and attached to the inner circle is the word Husky House. Attached to the outer circle is the word Local Bar and Grill. Then you're going to have the dog graphic in the center, and that's pretty much it. And then the background. Okay, but we're not going to use the background. We're only going to use just the white logo. We're not going to bring in the background because we have our own background. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do with this logo here is we're going to lock our background because we don't need the background. And then we're going to select everything else. Okay, now we can do that by doing a marquee select over everything. And that selects everything but the background, which is everything that's white. And then we're going to take this and we're going to click and drag this in to our smart layer here. So if I just kind of bring this over here and click on this and stagger this so we can see both, I'm going to click on this logo, click, and I'm going to move it and drag it right onto Photoshop. right onto this smart layer. And you can see how the logo just transfers. Okay, and you can see right here that this is the vector smart object that I just dragged in from InDesign. And this is going to be the basis of our design. I'm going to click, it's centered right now. So if I hold the Option key down in Photoshop and grab a corner or any of these handles here, it's going to reduce in size from the center. So it's always centered. Okay, so I'll just kind of do that, make that about like that. And then I'll hold the Shift key down and raise it up. Now I'm going to cheat and peek to see our final design over here. Okay, let me go to this version of it because I already did this. So let me open up this version of it, and it's going to look something like this. And so that logo looks like it's about that big, and our logo is over here. Okay. All right. Our logo is over here. So let's drag that logo back in again. And we'll just click on this and kind of drag this in here. Okay. And then I'll hold the Option key down and I'll just kind of reduce that. All right. Okay. I'm going to use this as a reference. Okay, so we don't need any of this anymore. We don't need this InDesign file. We've already dragged our logo in, so I can close this out. Let me just close this out. And I'll click Don't Save. I'm going to bring this up just for reference. Put this off to the side so we can kind of see the position and size of these things. Pull that over there. Okay. So here is our label, and here's what we're trying to achieve here. So let's set the text. Okay. And we have some text up here. We have some text underneath here, Maybelline Brown, Original, etc. And hold on one sec while I grab this photograph. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and pause this. Okay, let me resume. Sorry about that. And share my screen again. Alrighty. Okay. So anyway, let's get down and let's build this design here. Okay, so we're going to use, we can use some of this text here. I'm going to use this text right here. I just turned on this text here. And I'm going to grab this text and I'm going to move this up here. And I will take my text tool and double click on this. Oh, okay, this is not the right type font. Okay, so let me replace this with, we're going to just do Myriad Pro Bold. Myriad Pro Bold is fine. Highlight that and do Myriad Pro Bold. Okay. And we're going to make this text, we'll leave this text the same size, only it's going to say doggone delicious. Okay, so let me hit my cap locks and type that in. Let me just highlight all of this. Oops. I'm going to have to get rid of all of this text here. Doggone delicious. Okay, and I'll highlight this and I'll make it centered. And I'll roll that up there. Okay, so that's that text up there. And then underneath that we have this text that says Maybelline Brown. And Maybelline Brown actually will be in the same typeface as Doggone Delicious. So what I'm going to do is just hold my Option key down with my selection tool or my move tool selected. Hold my Option key down and click and drag a copy underneath here. And I'm going to grab this, double click on that, and I'm going to type in all caps, Maybelline Brown. And I'm going to have to open this text box up. Oops. Let me open this text box up wider. And I'll highlight this text, Maybelline Brown, and I'll tell you right now that the font size is 25 points. Okay, so I'll go up here and I'll type in 25. And you can see it's bigger, so I need to bring this down. You need to enlarge your text box to accommodate the size of your text. And I believe this is Myriad Pro Black. I think instead of bold, I think it's black. Yeah, it's really heavy. Okay. And if I look at the leading on this, the leading is much tighter. So I'm going to come over to my Properties menu here, and I'm going to come over to the leading field. And I'm going to make this, the type is 25 points. If I click in the auto field right here, if I hold my command key down and do command down arrow or up arrow, okay, down arrow will reduce the leading. So as you can see, the word brown is kind of coming up tighter, and up arrow will open up the leading. So I'm going to bring that up about there. Okay, that looks pretty good. I'm also going to come over to the tracking here, and I'm going to tighten up the tracking to maybe about, let's try -10. Let's try -25. Okay, that looks good. Now the color of this is going to be a brownish color. Okay, so let's just come up here. Now I have some browns up here because I've already done this, but if you want, just double click on your color picker and find some browns, you know, that might work. Okay, come into the yellow and orange area and just kind of, you'll see it appear here when you click. Okay, and you can see different shades of brown. Okay, so you can pick a brown color, add it to your swatches palette, and it should show up in here. I'm going to cancel out of this because I already have some browns chosen. So let me choose that brown right there and see what that looks like. Okay, that looks pretty good. And then I'm going to take this logo here and I'm going to move it up a bit. And I'm going to take this Maybelline Brown here and I'm going to move that up a bit. Okay. Then I'm going to take this text right here and I'm going to say original over here. So I'm going to double click on this. Now it says to replace this because this system does not have that font, so I'm going to replace it. I'm going to replace it with a font called BBQ Script Pro, which I have. BBQ Script Pro 3. Okay, I have that. I will also give that to you. It'll be in your, see right here, BBQ Script Pro. You might have that natively on the Mac, I'm not sure, but I'll click on that and then I'll make that bold. Okay, I'm also going to make it centered, so I'll click centered. And now what I'll do is click and put this centered underneath Maybelline Brown. There's the red, the magenta line right there that tells me it's centered. And again, I'll use my text tool, highlight this, and type in original. cap O-R-I, oops, not all caps, but O-R-I-G-I-N-A-L, original. Okay, so that is set underneath that. And then lastly, it's going to say net weight 8 fluid ounces. So I'm going to grab this text up here, the doggone delicious, because it's the same font. And I'm going to duplicate this, drag this down here. I'm going to take my text tool and highlight this. And instead of, let's see, let me just highlight this text here. It's Myriad Pro, only this time it's going to be Myriad Pro Regular. And I'm going to say, all caps, net weight 8 space FL period space OZ period. Okay, net weight 8 fluid ounces. And that'll be sitting right there. Okay. Now I have this little guide right here telling me that this is the center of the label. I want to make sure that everything is centered. I'm going to click this word original and just kind of move it up a bit. I'm going to look at Maybelline, click on Maybelline, and make sure that that is centered. Okay, there it is, that's centered. The word original, I want to center that, make sure that that's, get that little red, there it is, that magenta. 8 fluid ounces, I want to make sure that that's centered. Okay, so that's centered right there. Doggone delicious, that's centered, the logo's centered. Okay, so everything is looking pretty good. Move that up just a hair. Now, once you have your label set and everything's correct, then we're going to just do Command S, and that is going to save that onto our barbecue sauce mockup. Here's our barbecue sauce mockup label right here. Okay, but this is the label, and we're going to save this label on top of this old label here. Okay, this salt lick label. So watch what happens when I do Command S. Okay, Command S. And now when I go over to my free barbecue sauce bottle mockup, it has replaced the salt lick with label with this label here. Okay. And so now this is done, and it looks like an actual, barbecue sauce bottle. So there's a couple of things that we want to do here, and I wrote these down because number one, we're going to change the color of this sauce because it's Maybelline brown. It's not this kind of red sauce. And we're going to kind of change up some of the reflections here. I think the reflection on this label here is a little bit too harsh, the way the artist created this. Again, these mock-ups are created by Photoshop artists, and they put in all of these little types of effects. And you can go in and change these effects by simply spinning down the effects group and effects on the bottle, the effects on the label. Okay, so these are going to be bottle effects, and I'm going to spin down the bottle effects layer here in Photoshop. And I'm going to go actually to the reflection layer. And if I turn the reflection layer off, watch these reflections here on the bottle. Okay, this is off and on. Okay, so you can see that hold on one sec while I just check to see what's going on here. Okay, I'm gonna stop this for a sec, stop sharing, and okay, sorry about that again. Let me get back to this and okay. So under reflections, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drive into this reflections layer by clicking on this, maybe double clicking on this, and coming over to the layer style, which is the reflection layer style. And I'm going to come up here, and I have in my notes that I reduced the opacity to 0 instead of 80%. So I took this and I drag this down just so that the opacity of this was about 0. Well, I kind of still like the bottle, the reflection on the bottle. Okay, that's still okay. I don't know. I guess maybe I took it all off, so anyway, okay. There still looks to be a little bit of reflection here. If I look on my example here, I still have kind of some reflection here, but that's what these things do. You can go in and you can kind of make adjustments here. I'm going to leave it at about something like that, 7838. And click OK. And then I'm going to come over to my bottle label instead of the bottle here. Now I'm going to come over here to the bottle label and click that down. And I've clicked off light and shadow, these two. I've taken the visibility off. So light, yeah, see what that does? See, this is what I'm not really liking too much, is that just that strong light on the label. So I'm going to click that visibility off. And the shadow on and off, yeah, see, that brightens this part up. With the shadow on, it kind of dulls this. With the shadow off, it kind of brightens that up. Okay, so I'm going to leave that there. I'm actually going to go back up to the reflection here, and I think I'm going to turn that back up because I like that reflection on the bottle itself right there. Okay. And yeah, something like that. Okay, and I'm going to click OK. All right, now the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to the actual bottle color, okay, this color right here, and you can see that here. Okay, that's the color of the bottle. So I'm going to double click on that, and I'm going to make this more Maybelline brown. Okay, well, I know Maybelline brown is right here because I established this color for the text. So I might as well make the color of the sauce the same color as the text. So I'll just click on this, and that changes this, you know, color to the color of this. Now, actually, this doesn't look really good. This looks like chocolate right now. So I'm going to bring this down a little bit, and I'm going to make that a little bit more looking like barbecue sauce. Okay, so it'd probably have some kind of orangish brown in it. Maybe something like that would be better. This text is okay light because it's against the black background, but let's just go with that. Okay, let's say that that's, might even add some red in there. Yeah. So it's kind of a reddish brown sauce, and I'm going to click OK. All right, so now this is our mock-up. This is our version. What I would do is I would take this. Now, if you want to take out the shadow at the bottom here, you can do that. You can change the cap color. You can do, you know, a bunch of things. But for now, I'm just going to keep it like this. As far as the bottle goes, the shadow of the bottle, see this down here? Okay, if I click that or click the glossiness off. Okay. Okay, this is the bottle itself, And these are the shadow at the bottom of the bottle. Yeah, we're going to leave that on. Okay, you can see that. We'll leave that on, but we might just, well, let's just leave that on. Okay. All right. So here's what we would do once we have this done now is we can go up to File and we can save this as a PNG, or better to do it this way. We can go to File, Export as a quick PNG, okay, and then I can name this Maybelline Brown, let's say, bottle, and I'll save it to the desktop, okay, as Maybelline Brown PNG, okay, to the desktop. So I'll save that there. Okay, now that that's saved, let me just, there that is right there, Maybelline Brown. Now I'll go back to my smart layer and close up the groupings here. I'll go back to my Label Design Smart layer, and I will change this out to another flavor, okay, another flavor of sauce. Like, let's say I click on this and I say, you know, sweet and spicy, okay. And then what I'll do is highlight this and let's say change this to a reddish color. Okay, that looks too red there, so maybe I'll come over and kind of change that color down. You know, here, just something like that. Okay, that might look better. And then once I do that, everything else is the same. You know, it still says the same thing, sweet and spicy original. And then I'll do Command S. And when I come over to my composite now, it now changed it out to sweet and spicy. Okay, this looks like it could probably be a little bit lighter in color. So maybe I'll go back here to my composite, get my text tool out, and kind of go in and maybe change the color a little bit lighter. Actually, what I'll have to do is highlight this before I do it. Highlight the text and go back to this color and look for a lighter color here, something like that. Click OK. Yeah, that looks better. And then do Command S, and that should save it back to my composite. There, that looks better. And then again, I'll go to File, Export, and export as a PNG, and I'll call this sweet and spicy. Okay, and I'll save it to the desktop, save, and there is my sweet and spicy. Okay, and then I think the last one I did was one, again, go back to my label design, double click on that. All I'm doing now is just changing out the name, and this one was called Carolina Honey. I highlight that, and this was kind of an orangish color, so I'll come up to the orange area here and maybe use something like that. Okay, I'll do Command S, and every time I do Command S on this label, it changes the composite here. So now this is Carolina Honey. And now what I'm going to do is change, oh, you know what I forgot to do is change the color of this sweet and spicy to a red. But Carolina Honey, so let's change the color of this, the bottle color. So I'll double click on this and maybe make this bottle color something like that. Okay, click OK. And then come up here and go File, Export as a PNG. Come up here and say Carolina Honey. Carolina. And save that to the desktop. Okay, so there's my Carolina Honey. Okay, I'm going to go back to this sweet and spicy here and change the bottle color of that. So let me just do that real quick and go back here and change this up and redo this. Okay, let's just call this sweet and spicy. And I'll highlight this and I'll make that color something like that. And I'll do Command S, go back to my composite. And this time I'll change the color of the bottle to a more of a reddish color down here, something like that, yeah. Okay, click OK, and then save this file, save as, or export as a PNG, and I'm going to call this sweet and spicy. Now, since I already have one up here, the wrong color bottle, I'll click save and I'll say, do you want to replace that? And I'll say yes. And it replaced it here. So now I have all three versions here. Okay. And hold on. I'm going to stop this for a sec. Okay, sorry about all of this. It's a Saturday. There's a lot of things going on. I'm getting text messages and phone calls and doorbells. People coming to the door. So anyway, forgive all of the interruptions here. Let me get back and share my screen and let's finish this off. Okay, so these are the three bottles: Carolina Honey, Sweet and Spicy, and Maybelline Brown. Okay. So that is the assignment. The assignment is going to be to take that Husky House logo and you're going to open up the mock-up and you're going to put the logo on the label and create 3 flavors of barbecue sauce: sweet and spicy, Carolina Honey, and the Maybelline Brown. Okay. I want you to do this exactly the way it is in the example, okay? I know this is not your own design, but the purpose here is to understand mock-ups and to just go through the motions of how to do this, the mechanics of how to do this. You can obviously design your own label on your own if you want. But for this assignment, I'm going to ask you to design it the way it is. And then you're going to export them out as PNGs and save these PNG copies. Okay. I will have you upload these PNG copies to the assignment. And then there's a follow-up assignment to this, and that's where we're going to create a table tent card for a restaurant. And let me stop sharing the screen here. And we're going to do that with another mock-up. So you're going to have this bottle mock-up, and then we're going to take this bottle mock-up and we're going to put it into a table tent mock-up where we actually create the graphics for this table tent in InDesign. And then we're going to bring it into a Photoshop mock-up, and that'll be the final piece, and you'll see what that looks like in the next video. Okay, so for now, that's what we're going to do. Sorry for all the interruptions, but just follow the video, and you can play the video at 2 times speed. I noticed that when I talk kind of slow. So 2 times speed, you can pretty much hear the instructions well, and you can kind of even speed through that if you want. But that's the way it is. These Photoshop mockups are really cool. They're different. Different designers do different things with mockups, and there are ways to create a Photoshop mockup, but that gets kind of involved, so I'm not going to really even go there. But if you're interested in creating your own mockups and selling your own mockups, there are tutorials on how to do that as well. But these are great ways to show your design in a portfolio. And when we really get into portfolios and I show you some of the really cool Behance portfolios, you can see that a lot of them use mock-ups to show work such as packaging, design on products, food packaging, all kind of things, brochures, business cards, and the like. Okay, with that, I'm signing off. I will see you guys in class. Take care.